The NFL offseason just exploded. Teams are racking up free agents to upgrade their rosters for the upcoming NFL season. Which teams won the battle of the 2026 free agency offseason acquisition? That's the question. Which teams made the biggest mistake? Which players to each team to help the team win? And that's something that we will be talking about today. And training camp is coming up in several months. So welcome to the DC Stewart Show Podcast. I'm your host, Derek Stewart, along with my camp folks, Najee. And guess what? He's been missed, but he's back with us again. Isaiah's away, and he'll be rejoining us later on in the week. So it's just going to be me and Najee rolling today. We hope everybody is doing fine. Our principal topics today is going to be NFL offseason free agency. Make sure you hype our channel, and because it's growing, and we want you to grow along with us because we know you are family. So we would hope that you consider us to be your family as well. And this is a roundtable discussion. This is a debate discussion we want everybody engaged in, from anyone who want to comment to anyone who wants to chime in with us along the way. So let's get this thing started, and let's kick off the NFL free agency acquisitions. You got Tua that went to the Atlanta Falcons. He's got a 1-year deal. Kyler Murray ended up leaving the Cardinals, and it took Kyler Murray a little bit longer than I expected for him to move, because I was assuming that teams were just going to scoop him up as quickly as he was released. And Kenneth Walker III, Seattle's running back, most valuable player in the Super Bowl. He actually turned that game around with his running style and with his tenacity in the Super Bowl to help the Seattle's overcome the New England Patriots. And we got Mike Evans from Tampa Bay. And here's the thing with Mike Evans. I thought Mike Evans was going to finish his career with Tampa Bay, and I need to get your take on that, Najee, because it just seemed to me that Tampa Bay, did they make a big error while letting him go? Because he's a veteran receiver. He has that camaraderie with the team and with Baker Mayfield. Why would you release this guy and let him go? He was appreciative of the organization in itself since he spent his career at Tampa Bay. And he thanked the organization and he thanked the fans in Tampa Bay, saying that will forever be his home. So the one question I have for you to get this thing started is, let me pull up my notes here. And while I got you, I'm going to just ask you, which one shocked you the most? Which transaction shocked you the most with these acquisitions from these teams, moving from one team to another?
I would definitely say the Kenneth Walker one, because how you go from winning the Super Bowl and the Super Bowl MVP to going to another team, especially a threat, the very next season. Like, that's just crazy. Especially he's only 25. If he was an older veteran, I'll give you that. But at 25, bro, that's a great time to be playing, because you are in your prime. You got time on the field, and you're not old. And to me, I don't think Kenneth Walker is an injury-prone player. Now, the one with Mike Evans, Mike Evans been there for a minute. You got to pay him because he get his stats, but then on top of it, he's kind of injury prone too, and he's getting older. So I can see them getting rid of Mike Evans, which I really didn't think they would, though, because I thought he was going to be like a Tampa Bay lifer. But I guess that didn't play out as much.
Yeah, I agree with you with Kenneth Walker, and you think about how teams try to reason with which players they keep and which players they let go. This could have been highly up on Kenneth Walker, because I don't know what his situation was with this rookie deal. I know he came out up to 5 years ago, right? And these rookie deals usually run right around 5 years, if I'm not mistaken. With all of that said, Zach Charbonnet should recover from his injury. He had a knee injury, I believe, running back from the Seattle Seahawks. Charbonnet got drafted out of UCLA. He started his career at Michigan, transferred into portal to UCLA. He's a tenacious runner. I don't know if a lot of people seen Zach Charbonnet run, but he kind of runs with an anger and a vengeance, just like Kenneth Walker, although Kenneth Walker to me is a little bit more elusive and shiftier. Means that when he comes to the line, at least from my assessment of Kenneth Walker III, when he's reading where he's gonna go, he's running in a style where a defender doesn't get a clear, sure shot on him. if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Zach Charbonnet is more of a north and south runner. I mean, he runs and he doesn't move laterally much. He runs straight. And Kenneth Walker can go lateral and Kenneth Walker can run straight because Kenneth Walker runs just as hard. But I would just say Mike Evans is the one that kind of perplexed me because the San Francisco 49ers are going to pick up big gains. I mean, so they needed a receiver. They needed a solid receiver, although Mike Evans have had injuries over the last few years. But either way you look at it, I would say, who do you think is the winner? Which team do you think is the winner out of all of these teams that acquired these players? And well, you could just break it down to several teams or however many teams you want to name. But which team you think won and which team you think lost?
Well, the team that definitely won is the Chiefs. I'm like, you just got the Super Bowl MVP when the Chiefs really was lacking on the running back side anyway. Because I mean the receivers, they got the receivers already. They just need more experience. You got Travis Kelce, you have Worthy, you have Rice. You got people to actually throw it to. So I mean, they just need need reps. They just need experience. But they was really lacking on the running back side because if the throwing game was trash, Pacheco wasn't really running the ball, and he just came off of a major injury anyway. So by you having a 25-year-old very versatile running back, I mean that helped you a lot. Now they helped you a lot, especially now that Patrick Mahomes is coming off an injury himself. I think from his Achilles, right? So now he's already going to be limited at least for the first half of the season, or it might be the rest of the season. To be honest, the whole season, because that's a major injury anyway. So now you need to go through rehab. You need to get into shape, and then since he's a little young, still kind of young, he might be able to bounce back off it with no problem. But the thing is, not all players that's really athletic come back off of Achilles, full throttle. So he's going to have to work himself back into Patrick Mahomes type shape.
Right. And to have Kenneth Walker in that backfield, I can coattail on what you said. It's just going to enhance their backfield. Although I had a lot of respect the way Isaiah Pacheco ran the ball. He ran heavier and he ran a lot stronger than most.
He did run heavy for a person that's not that big. You're right about that. Yeah.
Yeah. He ran angry somewhat of the type of running back that he was the one to dish out the punishment type of runner. Just like Kenneth Walker. Yeah. I mean, it's the same. But Kenneth Walker is a better back. So he will be more apt and he can catch the ball out of the backfield. So when Mahomes is able, when he gets to scrambling or he needs to dump on that third, check down, he'll have Kenneth Walker back there. And then you still have Kareem Hunt, I believe, which is still on the team because Kareem Hunt ended up starting out his career with the Chiefs. And then he ended up leaving, going to Cleveland for a while. And then he came back.
No, but the crazy thing is, if you don't believe it, but Pacheco's actually taller than Walker, though.
Right. I think Pacheco was taller, but I don't know if his weight matched up against Kenneth Walker's weight. Yeah. But either way you look at it, I think Detroit ended up gaining by bringing in Pacheco because that's where he ended up going.
Mm-hmm.
And Detroit will actually benefit from him as long as he can stay healthy. And Detroit has the type of running game and the type of offensive line, I believe, they can block for Pacheco to be able to run.
To be more, you're right. Yeah.
Right. Because that's what Dan Campbell is all about, man. He don't play around. He wants that running game and he wants that bruising running game so he can open up play action pass because that's the key. You run, you get the defense to think and run, and then next thing you know, you're dumping passes off, you're throwing to the outside receivers, St. Brown, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and, you got some other good receivers on that squad. 2-star receivers, of course, for sure. Plus, the tight end as well on Detroit's team. Let's talk a little bit about Tua. Now, Tua ended up getting let go by the Dolphins. The Dolphins wanted to dump off some of the money, although they still have dead cap money. They had about $99 million worth of what they're going to call dead cap, which they're going to split into 2 years. However, they felt like it was best to move on because they are doing a complete rebuild in Miami. Not a partial rebuild. It's a complete rebuild.
They got rid of the the star receivers, the quarterback, and the coach.
Yeah.
I mean, if you can't tell me that's not a rebuild, then what is it?
Exactly. So with Tua going to Atlanta, and we know Atlanta has talent. They got Bijan Robinson. They got several good receivers. Drake London. I mean, really good players on Atlanta's team, and with that said, Michael Penix Jr. ended up, and he's a left-hand thrower too. He ended up getting hurt, and then Kirk Cousins had to come back in, and they threw the Brinks truck at Kirk Cousins to come to Atlanta. And then Michael Penix Jr. ended up winning the job, and then when he won the job, he ended up getting hurt. So my question to you is this a good signing by Atlanta? Because what can Atlanta do different since they're in the NFC South, and the only challenger, I think, is going to be Tampa Bay, to be honest with you. And Carolina has made some strides as well. So Carolina is definitely a much better team.
I know, but you know what? They think about it. Just like we said, they got plenty of receivers to throw it to, including Kyle Pitts, the tight end.
Yeah, I was going to bring Kyle Pitts' name up too. Right.
So it really going to play out how the coach, how the coach does it, because they have a new coach also,
Kevin Stefanski. And I'm not I'm not big on Kevin Stefanski. I don't even think personally.
Yeah.
I think he's a good offensive coordinator. Don't get that twisted.
Okay.
But the job that he did at the tail end of his tenure at Cleveland did not impress me at all. Kevin Stefanski and I think the new president ended up getting him that job, with convincing Arthur Blank to give him that job for the Atlanta Falcons. Matty Ice Ryan, which was quarterback forever with the Atlanta Falcons. He's the president of operations and all of that stuff for the Falcons now. So to bring Tua in and to have him compete against Michael Penix Jr., if my calculations are right, Tua is going to win that job. Now, you can tell me, am I wrong? But with Kevin Stefanski and how he handled that Shedeur Sanders affair in Cleveland, Michael Penix Jr. need to be looking elsewhere, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. Because now, think about it now. I mean, you have all those weapons. He normally plays pretty well when he has receivers to throw it to, because he's out of focus down on the field, he gonna just run it himself and put his own self in danger. So I think the only thing that can get in his way now is himself when it comes to how he dives and what type of risk he takes on the field. But he has plenty of weapons to be able to throw it to. So Tua might not be as bad as we say it is, but we're gonna have to we're gonna see how it plays out, because just like we said, now the offense is gonna be different. They got a different quarterback, and they got a different coach, so they might not even play the same as they did last year, even though through the injuries of everybody.
If they could protect Tua,
he's
Tua will be effective. If they can keep him clean in that pocket, he'll be effective. He can get the ball to the receivers that he needs.
Their line is very decent, so just give him protection, let him be able to see down the field, and with the personality he has at receivers, I mean, it can be a lot better than what you think it's going to be.
Right. So how do you think they're going to fare? Because it looks like Penix in the 2025 season, he sustained a partially torn left ACL and a bone bruise in week 11, requiring season-ending surgery, causing him to miss the entire 2025 season.
And that's late season. So you know how long it's going to take for him to get right?
That's right.
Yeah.
So you think that was a good insurance?
So unless they want to be completely invested in him, like, he can really actually lose his job to Tua if they play too well.
Well, here's the thing with Tua. They signed Tua to a 1-year deal because Tua is getting paid by the Dolphins. I mean, the Falcons ended up similar to Pittsburgh with Russell Wilson. I mean, they got him on a bargain basement price. And if Kevin Stefanski, which I know he's, like I told you, he's a good offensive coordinator. He's got, his play calling was kind of questionable at the end of his time with Cleveland, some of the stuff that he was doing at Cleveland, but will he be able to take Tua and build that offense around Michael Penix or Tua? Because once Michael Penix comes back, he'll compete for the job. At least we don't know when he's going to return. At least I don't have anything now that says that he's going to be ready for the season when it starts, because me and Isaiah was talking about science now of how they can fix these knees and fix, these Achilles tendon injuries and have these players back within a reasonable amount of time, right?
Yeah. Hit Jason Tatum, because I thought Jason Tatum was going to miss the whole season. And then look at him. He's already back before the season ends. He's actually playing pretty well. And that was an Achilles.
Yeah, the only dangerous thing about Achilles tears, and that's for any professional sport, is risk you can tear it again.
You can tear it again, just like what we were talking about with
just like
Watson.
KD did when he was with the Golden State Warriors, right?
No, but he didn't retire his though. He tore his though, but he didn't retire it. I was talking about I just said his name too. Deshaun Watson. He retore his trying to rehab. So that's why he stayed out the entire season.
Exactly. So it's always that risk factor, but we're wishing for the best for Michael Penix Jr. to come back because I think he can make a difference. And either one of those guys end up starting, the other one I think will serve as a good backup for each other.
Well, my thing is, let's say if they are playing well. Let's say they're 8-1, 8-2, 9-3. Like, do you really want to have to work him back in it, or do you want to let him sit on ice and let Tua play it out? Me personally, I'll just let him sit on ice because why would I mess up the chemistry they got going on? They made the playoffs last season because of injuries and inconsistency. So why would I want to rush him back in? Could further hurt himself or completely mess up the chemistry that they have on the field. So that also going to depend on the success as the season plays out.
Yeah, I agree with you. In the NFC South, like I said before, I don't think New Orleans is going to do anything different. I think they're going to be the same Aints.
They're going to be just as trash.
I call them the Aints, the New Orleans Saints, of course. And they got some decent players that's developing. But I think the division is going to come down to either Tampa, Carolina, or it could potentially be Atlanta. But I believe that this is Todd Bowles' last hurrah, man. If he don't get it done this year, I'm talking about Todd Bowles or the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And this is a notice directly from me to you, Todd Bowles. If you do not get that team to the playoffs this year, you're going to be looking for another job. That's just simple as that. Because he got away and he scraped through the very end of the season because it seemed like the heat was on to get rid of him last year. And I didn't think they did extremely bad last year. But with the talent level on that team and the expectation of the Glazers who own the team, it's just going to be very, very unusual for him if he survives with a losing season or they don't make the playoffs and go deep into the playoffs. Awesome.
Don't forget the Panthers too, man.
And the Panthers, yeah. Because I was telling you before, Dave Canales, the head coach for the Panthers, man, he's done a phenomenal job for the Panthers. And, the quarterback for the Panthers, Bryce Young. I mean, Bryce Young has really impressed me because he went through 2 different coaches when he came into the league. And it just didn't seem like he was going to work for the Carolina Panthers. And then when Dave Canales came in, it's just that I guess it was just the what was needed for Bryce Young to be able to flourish under the type of offense because he's an undersized guy. He could barely see over the line, right? He's 5'10", 5'11", something like that.
Yeah, that's why a lot of these players got to play freaking. They got to play shotgun so you can have a little distance from the freaking line.
Well, that's what they have been doing with Bryce Young. Yeah. They mostly shotgun him. And it looks like Carolina's got a decent running game and some decent receivers now. So it balanced out their offense. So in the NFC South, which is the 4 teams, Atlanta, New Orleans, Carolina, and Tampa Bay, I'm just going to tell you right now, I believe it's going to be between Carolina and Tampa Bay. But it could be the Falcons. Tua gets the starting job, and he shows that he can play because he has a lot to prove to the league as well and to the country that he can play, and that Miami made a mistake.
He could definitely be out of the league real soon.
He couldn't be out of the league after this particular run
because he's already a liability just with the concussions already.
Exactly,
and people have been trying to have him to retire from that the last 2-3 seasons already. But last year was probably his best season ever when it comes to health because I don't think he missed not one game last season.
That's right.
No tweet ankle or nothing. So let's see.
So let's move on and talk a little bit about Kyler Murray. Ended up leaving. He was let go by the Arizona Cardinals, and he ended up with Minnesota. Now, I believe Kyler Murray could potentially compete against J.J. McCarthy for that job. Now, I believe that J.J. McCarthy is a good quarterback. He's had some injuries here and there over his career since he left Michigan and who was with Minnesota. I've seen him play a few times. He can play at the professional level. But my question to you is he a bona fide starter, especially since Murray is going to be there now? And Murray is a dual threat. So, I mean, you think about quarterbacks now, you're thinking about athletes, not just somebody could stand back in the shotgun and stand and pick out the person he want to throw to. And JJ, don't let me get it twisted. JJ McCarthy can run with the ball. He's proven that at Michigan, and he's proven in the pros for the NFL that he can run the ball with Minnesota. But it's just that dynamic to Kyler Murray that he's a shorter, more stockier guy that could probably be more of a threat to a defense than J.J. McCarthy. What's your take on that?
No, I agree. But the only thing is, it also got to play out with health-wise, too, now. Who is more healthy? Who can connect to the team a lot more? Because, I mean, me personally, I like versatile quarterbacks, too, because I don't like somebody that stands in the pocket all the time. Because guess what? If you have a team that blitzes a lot, you have teams that just really demoralize your line, then he's gonna be cooked. He's gonna get nervous. He's gonna be throwing the ball everywhere. He's gonna throw picks. He's gonna throw them inaccurate. He's gonna throw it too fast, too soon. He's gonna hold the ball too long. Hopefully that it develops. So when you have somebody that can actually run, somebody that can actually put pressure on the defense when it comes to now they have to be you got to be humble and honest of how they're gonna defend you, not just one dimensional. Then that plays a part, because now, and let's say for example, he's Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers can run the ball okay. But the thing is, if the line is being broke down, he's cooked. He's done.
Right.
He's done. Where you can run, and then now they didn't like Lamar Jackson. And the one thing they don't want him to do is freaking run the ball. So guess what? We're gonna just stick to the freaking receivers. Then we'd rather for him to throw the ball, even though he's gotten better as a passer. But the thing is, he's more dangerous running. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just stay honest with the receivers, and hopefully he makes some mistakes or et cetera like that. So that's why I would think I would like Kyler Murray more than anything, because now you already have Jordan Addison and you have
Justin Jefferson.
Yeah, so that's what I'm like. So
and then you have T.J. Hawkinson.
Right, that's already better than what he had with the Cardinals. So
absolutely, I mean, it's an upgrade for the receivers for Kyler Murray for sure. And now, when you're playing sports, at least from my perspective, when I was playing Little League sports, I never outright started. So I'm going to be perfectly honest with you and the viewers. But when you were a starter and when you're a bona fide starter, and then another player comes in that could potentially move you out of the way, it's something to think about. It's something that's in the back of your mind that, look, in each practice, you know that you have to keep your level of playing your game up so that this other person can't overtake you. And that's why I'm comparing Kyler Murray and J.J. McCarthy. Now, Kevin O'Connell is a good coach. He's the head coach for the Vikings, and he's a good coach. And I think he learned his craft most notably under Sean McVay for the Rams. So he's an offensive-minded coach. I'm glad the Vikings kept Kevin O'Connell because I think he's definitely the man for the job for them. However, he has to make a decision, and which quarterback can help this team with this receiver room the most, just like you just explained. You got Justin Jefferson, Hawkinson, and Addison, and you got Aaron Jones playing running back. So Aaron Jones can catch the ball out of the backfield too. So he's got just multiple targets, and with Justin Jefferson being the most dangerous threat along with Jordan Addison, I mean, you look at those two, I don't see why the Vikes can't compete for a playoff spot next year. They need to be there because they have that talent level to do it. And now they have a bona fide quarterback room that either one of these quarterbacks to start. And if they're smart, they'd rotate them both in. I'd use a slash type Cordell Stewart type of setup with Minnesota, where, Kyler Murray comes in for the Wildcat or something like that. These are just ideas that I'm throwing out there. I'm not the coach of the team, so they're going to do what they do. But if they want to utilize both of these quarterbacks and be able to have them as a dual threat, I think that would be something that they would want to exercise as a possibility to help that team because their defense is a pretty good defense. So Minnesota should be okay, I would think.
They're pretty, yeah. And they got a great, like you said, they got great defense too. But you know what? Now that I think about that division, it's tough, man. You got the Bears, you got the Lions, and you got the Packers.
Oh, it's a doozy. It's a doozy of a division.
That's probably one of the worst divisions to try to compete in.
Absolutely. And, the basement teams of 30 years, which was the Lions and the Bears. I mean, because the Bears has been, I'm not going to say they've been in the basement bottom feeding for 30 years, but I'm going to just say those were the two teams that were at the bottom. Green Bay.
Out of the four.
Exactly. When Aaron Rodgers was at Green Bay, they was constantly competing every year to get to the Super Bowl, or as far as into the playoffs as they could. And then when, Dan Campbell got to Detroit, guess what? Detroit
Rodgers and Brett Favre.
Exactly. So with Detroit being a contender, because they had kind of an off year last year, I think Detroit missed Ben Johnson, which is the offensive coordinator for Detroit, which he was the offensive coordinator for Detroit, and now he's the head coach of the Bears. Ben Johnson, he's a very creative play caller, and what he did is he took the Bears to the next level with Caleb Williams, right? I mean, and they got talent on that receiver edge as well for the Bears.
Yeah, they was a very sleeper team. Like, nobody was really putting them out there, maybe because nobody really believed in Caleb Williams like that. But their defense was great. It seems like they receivers always got open. I don't know what type of routes they were running. It's not like they had receivers that stood out. That was the crazy part. So every time you see them play, somebody was open, somebody was wide open, and they would just, I don't know. I guess whatever coordinator they have over there is doing a great job over there. So he was playing shooting duck. He would just get anybody can get it. Anybody can get it.
And Caleb Williams is the kind of guy that he can break down a defense. And what I mean by breaking down a defense, he can make a defense which have a plan to run a defense against him. And when he breaks open field, the defense has to make adjustments, and they have to make adjustments real time is what I'm saying. If you had a cover 2 or a cover 3, and then the alignment looked a certain way from the offensive side, and then Caleb Williams, because he can run. I mean, he's more of a dual threat than any other quarterback in the league right now that I know of when it comes to running. That's why you explained
Lamar Jackson.
Lamar Jackson, of course. I'm not going to leave Lamar Jackson out. So, I'm glad you brought Lamar Jackson, because Lamar Jackson, to me, is the godfather of that. I'm going to put that title on Lamar Jackson as being the godfather. But I'm just saying Caleb Williams is so much of a threat. That's why those receivers end up being wide open. You got Luther Burden III, you got Rome Odunze, and you got several other receivers for the Bears that they can get open, man. They proved that against the Rams when the Rams were able to slide by them and get by them.
Which is crazy, because the Rams is not a bad defensive team. So you're right.
And you look at DJ Moore. I mean, he's another stud of a receiver for the Bears. So getting back to Kyler Murray to the Vikings, Tua to the Falcons, out of those two teams, I would say Kyler Murray is definitely the X factor moving to the Vikings. That was a good move on the Vikings' part, I think.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So anyway, let's move on to the next topic, and I want to ask you a question. How did the Baltimore Ravens screw up that trade with Maxx? The defensive end for the Raiders.
Crosby?
Maxx Crosby. How did they screw that up? How did Eric DeCosta fuck that up? Eric DeCosta, by the way, is the general manager for the Baltimore Ravens. The buck stops with Eric DeCosta. He's supposed to be in control of everything from the trades to the transactions to controlling the public relations department who put this stuff out to the media. How did it get out where it was in the media and all of a sudden Maxx Crosby, allegedly ended up at the Baltimore facility, and then he's told that, I guess, he didn't pass the physical? Is that the way it looked or the way it worked? What's your take on it?
I mean, he did come off a major injury, but I don't know. It really sounds like it's an in-house situation, because if you was worried about his physical health or him not be able to be, to be dominant, Like, why even entertain the situation? That's what my take is on it. Like, why? Like, if you know that he's not top tier no more, or he's not able, like, why to even put the effort into that when you have plenty other players to choose from? Let alone you got the draft coming up.
Right.
So I really
Right.
feel like it's. I feel like it's really an in-house thing that it didn't connect somewhere.
So I'm reading here, after an unprecedented week of blockbuster trades and fails physicals, the Raiders and Maxx Crosby are back together. And if nothing else was accomplished in the last 7 days, they've learned a lot more about his surgically repaired knee. It seems to be more so a bigger issue than was expected. And I don't know how Baltimore looked at that and how it got to the media first. Look, I mean, because if it breaks on ESPN or any of these major networks, CBS Sports, ESPN, Yahoo Sports, and they have sources that's saying that, look, this trade is going to happen or it's happened already, you could only rely on that, correct?
Of course, because I mean, the only people that's going to be able to distinguish is the doctors, and you by him doing the physical, you see how he moves. You also look at the results, and the results when you look at the X-rays, look at the MRI, you look at anything that has to do with his body and see where he's gonna go. Because he's not a small dude. He's 6'5", like he's like 250. So that alone, he's already put a lot of pressure and weight on his joints and everything else. So you want him to play high tier football on that much weight on that knee. So when you push off and when you do all that explosion on a bad knee, they probably undersold how bad the knee was until they actually saw it. Like, oh, okay, well, is that basic? Is that simple? We could deal with that. But then they see it's further damage than what they sold. And like, oh wait, we can't mess with this. Like it can snap or it can further injure it at any time. So why would we deal with it? I mean, because you talking about giving up 3 draft picks on top of it too. So imagine losing 3 draft picks to somebody they can't stay healthy. Well, you could be getting somebody that's very, very valuable to that team in the future.
So according to this information I just pulled up, Maxx Crosby underwent surgery in early 2026 to repair a significant meniscus tear and related cartilage damage in his knee following a 2025 season where he played through it, technically. As of mid-March, he's rehabbing well and off crutches. Now, whether he's going to be able to get signed with another team, if the Raiders, if that was their intention to get rid of him for whatever reasons, I mean, some of it could be what he might be ready to go himself. He might not even want to be there anymore. Whatever the case may be, until that knee completely convinces another team that the investment is worth bringing him in, it's a liability. It's a liability if that's the case. Now, with science, as me and Isaiah was speaking in the last show, science can help with a lot of things. But one thing science cannot help is each person's different. Each person heals different. So what works for you may not work for me, or vice versa, when it comes to any type of injury. So anyway, it looks like the Philadelphia Eagles is going to keep Dallas Goedert, the tight end for Philadelphia.
Tight end, yeah.
He's a good tight end. I mean, he's a possession tight end. Over the years, he's become a super big target for Jalen Hurts. When Jalen Hurts needs to go to a guy, he knows will catch it.
Yeah, he's right there. He
bailed Jalen Hurts out so many times when both receivers were double covered. Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown was covered.
When covered, he just needs to squeeze it out. Boom, he's right there available for him.
And see, that's the threat of a tight end, a good tight end like a Kelsey and a Goddard and these tight ends they're hybrid tight ends. They could play receiver, but they line up on the line because they block well. And I know Goddard blocks really well, and it's a good thing for Philadelphia that Howie Roseman is building that team. And the way that they've done it over the last, I would say 10 years has been really smart. The way Howie Roseman has constructed this team of bringing in the right type of players for the Eagles to compete year after year after year. So I believe quietly the Eagles have restocked in a lot of ways. Now, I don't know A.J. Brown's situation because we had a segment on him, whether he'll be there, whether they'll use him as trade bait. They might bring him back. They might not bring him back. But whatever the case may be, I still think they're poised to make another run, try to get to the Super Bowl. Somewhat like the Kansas City Chiefs, even though Mahomes was hurt. They have all the tools to do it. They got an offensive line that can block. They still got Saquon Barkley, and they got a good defense. So
I think they probably have to move away from him because he's still a top tier receiver, and he's still at a reasonable age. I just think they need to move on from him because he don't have the greatest attitude, and I think he
well, that's what we talked about.
He can definitely bring them morale down. So why not move from him? Probably get somebody that's, of course,
they could draft a receiver.
You're not going to get somebody that's equal to him. So you could trade for somebody a piece that you're missing. You can draft just like you said, and then I will go forward more with Devontae Smith because Devontae Smith is great too now.
Oh, he
doesn't shine as much because of AJ Brown because they try to overfeed him. But I mean, Devontae Smith is great too. So he has a better attitude. Give him the ball, and then go on to try to fill in a spot in your roster where it's well needed.
That's a great point. And, since you mentioned Devontae Smith, when he was at Alabama, he's always been undersized. I mean, weight-wise. He doesn't seem like he has impressed me most with his durability, to be able to sustain those tackles and to be able to sustain a full season of running patterns, catching, getting hit, getting slammed to the ground. I've seen some of the body slams that defenders have slammed him to the ground with, and I was wondering, man, how did he get up? How did he get up? Right?
Yeah.
So he's a really durable receiver.
He really is skinny. He's 6 foot 170. 170 is skinny as hell.
That's super, super skinny in the NFL. Even if with the skinniest of cornerbacks, and let's just say the safeties are not that big, but when they close in to make a tackle, it's still dangerous because of the velocity and the speed that they're closing in to hit you or tackle you is just bone jarring to me. And Devontae Smith has impressed me more so than anyone on that Philadelphia roster for being in that receiver slot because he's very durable and he's very dependable. That's how I'm going to leave it at that with the Eagles.
With a lot better attitude.
With a lot better attitude than A.J. Brown. That is indeed correct. Let's go here, and I got another one for you. Let me ask you about, and I'm going to pull it up here. I had it right in front of me, and then it jumped right out from in front of me here. With this upcoming draft, and you got the Raiders picking number 1, which I know who they're going to take is Fernando Mendoza, of course, unless something drastic happens. Do you think these teams are going to have a lot more trades on draft day?
I don't know. It depends. It depends on who's drafting who. It really does. Because, let's say, for example, that I'm going to pick up the top tier receiver in there. And I'm like, bro, you know what? I want that quarterback. Let me see what they're going to want. I think they're going to probably play in between that. It might be. But you know what? This is probably going to be more of the quarterback, though. Day. This is probably going to be the draft for the quarterback, though, because now you got Carson Beck and them boys that's going to be on there. I think that's going to be that's going to definitely be the first 5 to 10 drafts already in the NFL, which is going to be the quarterback. Because you got some teams that for some reason they really actually need another quarterback, bro. Even if you don't want them to start, at least let them learn behind the veteran. So correct. I mean, I think they really need to focus on that. There's several teams that need a quarterback right now.
Well, you can always draft a quarterback and have them there for insurance to learn, like you said, because you look at Carson Beck. I think he's a first rounder. I'm not going to tell you which 32 teams, which position he will go in. Now, if he goes into day 2, that's understandable as well. But I think with that run that he made with the University of Miami last season, it
really picked up his stock.
It picked up his stock, and then he had a really good combine on top of that. It just really kind of put him over the top as far as being in the first round, the way I see it,
I agree.
And we'll see what happens because you can always benefit from drafting a quarterback. You might can even trade. Some of these teams might can even trade down to do that, to try to get a quarterback in a later position.
You've reached the end of another episode of the DC Stewart Sports Talk Podcast. Be sure to connect with us at Facebook and Twitter.com. Your voice is important, so head over to iTunes to subscribe, rate, and leave us a review. Catch our next episode.